I say we fight!
Star Wars Wars is back, and we are doing the best and worst deaths in Star Wars. We are each gonna pick one from each category. Now, while Star Wars is fun, it's a space opera, it's for all ages, death is a big part of the franchise. And like I said, we each have chosen what we think are the single best and worst deaths in franchise history, and we're going to debate our choices against each other in the return of our fight segment. Yes, it's Star Wars Wars. Lacey's nervous. I can't wait. I'm excited. So what we're going to do here is we'll start with the best deaths first, and we'll each reveal our choice for best death and give an opening statement, and then let the bell ring and the fight begin. So who wants to go first with their choice and their opening statement?
Lacey!
No, I'm not going first.
Thrown
I go first
into
for
the
everything.
fire.
I go first for everything. I'm not going first for this. I don't know how this works. You guys got to walk me through this.
James,
Okay.
you want to go first?
Step 1, I go first. Step 2, you lose. The best death in Star Wars is Kanan Jarrus. And the reason...
Of course you say Kanan.
It's not about his character. It's not about his personality. It's not
It's
about
just
anything
that I
like
love
that.
him.
No, it's that he has the best death. Now, the reason is because, number one, everybody in Star Wars dies basically the same way. They either get shot with a blaster, their ship goes down, they disappear, they get run through by a lightsaber. It's all the same stuff. Kanan's death is superior because it's very, very unique. There's so much meaning behind what it is. There's the explosion, him using the Force to block it, to protect these people, him getting his sight back. It's all part of the sacrifice. He pushes the people away. It swallows him up. It's such an original death. It means so much after so long of this character. It's easily the best.
Okay. Mine is a character that people actually know. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I'm sorry, that doesn't matter.
His death. People like to relate to things, and when you relate to things, you pick you align with that a little bit more. So the reason why I picked Obi-Wan Kenobi is because he's more of an important character than Kanan Jarrus, therefore making his death more important. His death is the best because he did it on his terms, and not many characters in Star Wars can really say that, can they?
So Luke Skywalker's is just as good. Yeah.
Right, who was his pupil.
Yeah.
So Obi-Wan even told Vader, "Strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you could possibly imagine," and he was right. He looks at Luke, kind of does his own thing, vanishes. He has that power, and Vader swipes through, stomps through. He's like, "What happened? Where'd he go? I don't understand what happened. I wanted to beat him clean and fair." And Obi-Wan's like, on my terms. Later, see you around, kid. Vanishes. And then he helps Luke blow up the Death Star by teaching him the Force in death. It's not only impactful post-death, it's impactful of a moment, especially like seeing that movie for the first time. People are like, "Whoa, this guy can disappear?" And he did it on his own terms. No other Jedi can say it like that. Obi-Wan Kenobi, one of the greatest characters, one of the best deaths, probably the best death.
Yeah, what a meaningful sacrifice, coming back in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was so meaningful. He just disappeared, and then there he was again, giving more advice.
I'm back. I'm not even worried about dying. Dying's not really a thing. I'll be back. I'm coming back.
You can
for
both
the next
stop
movie.
talking,
Both movies.
because I have the right death, the best death, which is Darth Vader's, of course, the chosen one of the entire series, the one that George Lucas, said that these movies only existed because of Darth Vader. So his death is the best death. He sacrificed himself for Luke. He showed Luke that you can come back from the dark side. He took his helmet off for his own son just to see him with his own eyes. It's meaningful. It's emotional. It's perfect. He then gets a burial with like fire Viking burial. It has its own scene. Nobody else in these movies has so many death emotional scenes than Darth Vader's 10-minute span of death. So I choose Darth Vader.
When someone's dragging his body around, he's like, "I can't breathe. I can't."
Yeah,
Wait, how is that a bad death? That makes it even more meaningful. He didn't leave the
What a
body on the
boring
ship
death.
to die.
He's
or to
the
burn
greatest Sith Lord in the world, and his respirator went out.
Yeah, it's like accidentally dropping the toaster in the bathtub.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, the toaster doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, but he did it to sacrifice himself for his own son, for the greater good.
He did
Which
it
is
to
better
kill
than
the emperor,
sacrificing-
and then he's like, "Oh darn it, he was using the electric thing."
Yeah, but he died for his own son, for Luke,
died as
to
a
show him that
side
you can
effect of
come
trying to
back
kill.
from the dark side. That you can, even
first of
despite
all-
everything that happened, you can come back and make the right choice. That's what made his death so meaningful and makes it the best death.
First of all, you took the easiest choice.
No,
So,
I didn't. I
gotta
took
start there.
the best choice.
Yeah, the easy choice, the most popular choice, right?
The best choice.
But let me
is the
start
best
with
death.
James, because James's choice is embarrassing.
I know, James. Why did you even come on this show?
Yeah, you should have saved it just for maybe your choice for worst death, because that one's going to be fucking hilarious.
It should
really just hilarious.
I thought we were doing best, not who doesn't care.
I think James is kind of ridiculous because I almost forgot that Kanan was in Rebels while he was gone.
Who is
And then he's
Kanan?
like, oh yeah, there he is, that guy. Okay.
Bull
Oh, we got
crap.
a sight back. That's cool. Oh, he's protecting everybody. That's sweet. Like, come on. It was too much. It was way too like dramatic for me. And it just like people already forgot about it. The show just ended last year and people forgot about that guy's death.
Bull crap. The other thing too is like Darth Vader, like Kanan walked into that scenario knowing his death. That's so BA, man. That dude is awesome. He knew he was going to die and he was doing the right thing. Vader was kind of like a split-second decision. You know what I mean? Obi-Wan was trying to get off of there and he's like, I don't know about that. This actually might be a benefit for Luke if I do this. It's like, those are like kind of like last-minute decisions to kind of risk their life. But like Kanan, like fully 100% mentally went into that death and he knew that he was going to burn to death. Not disappear, not slowly kind of fade
Vader
away.
kind of burned to death in the sake
After
of
he
his
was
own
dead,
body.
that's not
And then
really,
because of
that's
his
a good
death,
argument.
he then had a helmet that then went to Kylo Ren, which started that whole sequence.
All right, listen, Lacey. First of all, we're not bringing Kylo Ren into this. So pipe down.
It's meaningful to the
Second-
death.
Second of all,
I should have chose
I don't
Kylo
think
Ren as the best
Vader-
death.
No.
Vader didn't necessarily know he was going to die.
It doesn't.
So he may just been
okay,
like,
first of all,
"Let
this
me-"
isn't the like who knew they were going to die category. This is legit
that's
best death.
That was a part of your argument as to why it was a good death because he was sacrificing himself.
He
right?
did. He decided to make the right choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but he didn't know he was going to die. He may have just been like, "Let me get rid of the Emperor, and then me and my son are going to go eat a sandwich together."
Yeah, but at the
I'll get a new
same
hand.
time, it's the idea that he made the choice, which then resulted in his death. It's not about when and where.
So it's
he
not
did
as
it.
noble as you think in terms of like a suicidal or kamikaze kind of
Again, this
sacrifice.
isn't
Like
noble
Kanan's.
death. This is the best death.
Yeah, which is Obi-Wan
This is
Kenobi's.
the epitome of father-son relations. Important moments in this series is Darth Vader and
How come-
his death.
How come Vader didn't just disappear like a badass instead of like you said being burnt like a piece of leathery burnt bacon?
I don't
Again.
know how. Wait, can we pause for a second? I really don't know why he didn't disappear.
because
That's what I'm saying.
it doesn't make any sense. That's why they just wanted to have him sitting
We're not
there.
talking about disappearing deaths. We're talking
Like a
about
wet
the
rag.
best death. The best death is about someone that in the moment they have a decision to make, whether it's good or bad. He made a good
And
decision, which resulted in
saving
his
their
death.
loved ones,
Saving
using the
his
force to
own
protect
son.
them as the flames begin to surround him. Yes, the best death. Look, the other deaths you guys are talking about are a guy standing there and he disappears and his clothes fall off, and then the other
James, yours
dude.
isn't even the main series, James. You can't even argue for this death because it's not even a part of the main story.
Yeah, you guys say that, and that just goes to show how little you care about Star Wars canon as a whole. You guys care about like
No,
the
that's
movies.
There it is. There's the C word. Canon.
That's not true because Kanan Jarrus is a filler. He's the lettuce that you put on the sandwich. Okay, that's all he is. He's not important. He never will
Darth
be. You
Vader
can still tell
is
the
the
story of
burger.
Star Wars without Kanan Jarrus.
You,
But anyway,
Star Wars
Obi-Wan
is
Kenobi.
bigger than one
Obi-Wan
story.
Kenobi. One of the most important characters in the history of the saga. Everything that guy went through leading up to his final moment, he made the choice on his own. He was in complete control. Nobody else can say that. His death was impactful. It even taught Luke what to do and how to create his own ending that we just saw in The Last Jedi. And he did it on his terms. Qui-Gon went out like a punk. Anakin almost went out like a punk. Han Solo got skewered. Kanan, you just told me how he died and I already forgot because I don't care. And Darth Vader's death, like I said, it was drawn out. We knew it was going to happen. It's the easy choice.
It's meaningful AF. Dude takes off his helmet and is like, I just want to see tell your sister she was right. Oh my God, I'm crying. I'm crying right now.
And then he comes back 10 minutes later and it's Hayden Christensen.
Exactly.
Okay, that has nothing to do with this death.
Both of your guys' death were deaths that they're like, I don't know, I'm like the chosen one. I'm probably going to come back as a Force Ghost. And the other guy's like, I definitely is coming back as a Force Ghost.
I knew the Force Ghost thing was coming up.
Because we're talking about their death and neither one of them died. No, neither one. They're both alive at the end of the Return of the Jedi. There they are. Hey, they're still here. They can still have a conversation.
James,
People are talking about
can we
Hayden Christensen and Anakin Skywalker showing up in Episode 9. That's possible.
James,
Ben Kenobi showing up in Episode 9. That's possible.
Kanan didn't come back because he doesn't matter.
Because he died.
Yeah,
that's the point. He gave the sacrifice.
Are you let me? Because a lot of our listeners know that he's your favorite character. He's your favorite fictional character of all time. Mm-hmm. Do you honestly think in your heart, or are you just doing this for the sake of the Star Wars war, that Kanan Jarrus's death is the best death in all of Star Wars?
100%. And here's the reason: is if this were Ezra's death, Ezra's not my favorite character, but if that was Ezra's death, that absolutely would be the same thing. Him completely giving his life and a sacrifice for his friends to block a massive oil explosion, basically, as the flames come around him and he pushes his friends away so that they can live, but he can't.
Right, but it's not even important in the bigger story.
That doesn't matter. It's about this character and his story and his death. This is how he goes out. And here's the other thing too, is you best believe that if that scene were anybody else and it were in a live action show or it were in a movie, everybody would be like, holy crap, Luke Skywalker just blocked all this explosion and he protected Rey. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what medium the story happens.
Now you're making up a hypothetical.
Because we're talking about...
It is what it is.
We're talking about a character in this galaxy, and if he had the best death...
It's a cartoon,
it doesn't
dude.
matter.
It's like seeing Wile E. Coyote fly into a brick wall. I can't take it seriously.
The same, a person's meaningful death could still be just as meaningful if they don't do anything with their life and they just live their life and they have a meaningful death. They don't have to be the president of the United States, or they don't have to be a world leader in order to have a meaningful death. You can still be a person in the universe, in the world, living your life.
But you're trying to compare it against better deaths in the saga.
Better deaths in the saga. The guy's respirator went out, and the other dude was like, I'm just going to disappear. It's not a big deal. It's not like I'm really going away. I'm not really losing anything. In fact, I'm getting more power. You could almost say Obi-Wan's death is kind of selfish.
Yeah, right? He's like, look at me, look at me.
I'll get back to you in a second, James, because we just proved that Kanan Jarrus is pretty much like Wile E. Coyote. But in terms of Lacey's, I mean, think about when people saw Darth Vader's mask come off. They're like, ugh. Like, that's it?
Where'd his eyebrows go? Oh, wait, his eyebrows are there until later they decide to take them off.
So first of all,
I'm pretty sure nobody said, ugh. I'm pretty sure everyone went, oh my God, he's so old. Like, you felt bad for him.
Why is he white?
No, people were like, that's what Darth Vader looks like? Oh.
I'm pretty sure nobody thought that, because then when they went to...
Oh.
Yeah, no. Nope. Nobody thought that. From the first time I saw that movie, the first thing I thought was, oh my God, he's so old. He knew what condition he was in.
Hold on. I have a newspaper here from May 28th, 1983, and it says, these are people coming out of the theater. Quote,
is that just a blank piece of paper?
I couldn't believe Darth Vader looked like that. That really made it an unimpactful death for me.
At Johnny Hoey.
That's just people walking out of the theater back in the day.
August 2018. John, no one cares what you think. Darth Vader is the best death to ever happen in Star Wars. Okay. It meant more to everyone, including George Lucas, than any of this Kanan BS that's going on over on this side. Or
are these
Obi-Wan.
your closing thoughts?
No, my closing thought is you both suck. And Darth Vader is the best.
You guys both suck. Darth Vader's the best death. Where?
Best death ever. Okay, so let's all do a closing brief statement, and then we'll move on to worst deaths.
That being said, you can give 2 sentences, and nobody can say anything over your 2 sentences. How about that?
I know what it's going to be.
Go ahead, James.
I already said everything I want to say. I think you guys are just trying to like basically make something cool when it's not.
That's 2 sentences. John, go ahead.
Nobody cares about Kanan Jarrus, and Darth Vader is an easy, safe pick. Obi-Wan Kenobi went out on his own terms. Nobody else could say that. He had the best death in Star Wars ever.
3 sentences.
Yeah, that was 3.
There's a lot of commas. I use commas.
Darth Vader sacrificed himself for Luke Skywalker. In the end, went out on his own terms and redeemed himself. Screw you, John. This is a side note. Away from my argument, you suck.
That was like 5
God.
sentences.
Yeah. I love how Lacey goes into this. I'm so nervous about Star Wars War. I don't want to go first. And then she's like, okay, here's the rule. 2 sentences each. And what is going on? Okay, so I won that one, so it's 1-0. And then we're moving on to... No, let us know what you guys think. And also, if you have choices on your favorite best death, let us know in the comments. But now we're moving on to the worst death. And who wants to start this off? Again, we're each going to go around, say our choice, and give our opening statement before we start brawling. So, Lacey, it looks like you have a little more confidence now. Why don't you fire this one off?
I actually don't, John. Why don't you go first?
Okay. Now, tying closely into Lacey's pick, I'm going to say the worst death in the history of Star Wars is Sheev Palpatine. Why? Because he was the mastermind, the brilliant mind, the guy who can get inside your mind, manipulate you, control you, powerful, one of the most powerful people ever in the history of the Force. And he gets picked up by a guy with one hand and thrown down an elevator shaft.
Of course you picked Palpatine. I love how you picked Kanan and then you picked Palpatine on the second one.
And then he screams like a little, you know what? He's like, like,
all right, opening statement.
Like that ending was just pitiful. Worst death in Star Wars.
All right.
Hands down.
Lacey, who's the worst death in Star Wars?
So for me, the worst death was Admiral Akbar in The Last Jedi. I think that he was a fan favorite character, including myself. I have so much Akbar stuff in my house. He has such a memorable line. Everyone loved him. He was a hero of the rebellion and in the resistance. And he goes out like a punk and doesn't even get to die on screen or have any moment of glory. He just dies. And then the next scene, they're like, he went out like a hero. They didn't even say that. No, they didn't even say that. Well, I don't know why. I just made that up. They didn't even say that. She was just like, oh, Akbar's gone. And it was just totally over. And I was like, what? What is this?
So you're saying the grandma from the Looney Tunes didn't show up and talk about Admiral Akbar?
No, it was that girl that looks like a mouse. The one I was like, arr. He should have gone out Holdo, yeah. He should have gone out like her. He should have drove, it's a trap, gone through the ship.
Okay.
You guys are thinking way too hard about this. The
opening statement, James.
The obvious choice here is random Empire guy on Endor that Han hits with some sort of like mechanical whatever and knocks him over the railing. Like,
it was a rock. Yeah,
it was not a rock. John seems to think it was a rock. Like there was a rock in this facility. But anyway,
so meaningful. I don't even remember this. When?
What is the time you get the most mad at like a first person shooter? Like you're playing Call of Duty. It's like as soon as you spawn, you're dead immediately. And that's what happened with this dude. He runs in and he's like, I'm gonna stop these rebels. And he runs in and he's like, freeze. And then Han Solo just throws like a heavy suitcase at him and he's like, oh no, what do I do? Ah! And then there's the Wilhelm scream, the stupidest, most dumbest fundamental death. I mean, obviously your mind goes to like, I don't know, some background stormtrooper. They die all the time for stupid reasons. There's no meaning behind their death. Or that guy that Luke
Skywalker didn't
They just
kick
run
in the
into
face.
the room and get killed. Like, that's the worst death you could have in the Star Wars universe. You don't do anything meaningful other than say the word freeze.
First off, before we brawl, I want to say I would have picked Boba Fett, but all those guys would be like, well, Boba Fett's not dead. He's going to get out and they're going to make a movie about him.
I was curious if you would go the Boba Fett route because you've talked about how often you hate his death or whatever.
Well, I would, but I didn't want to get the backlash like, John Hoey, you don't know anything. He's coming back,
death.
Boba Fett's back.
In Favreau's Mandalore series.
Same for Maul, too. You can't say his death was cool because he didn't die at the big, main, cool death. Yeah.
James, yours is hilarious.
Which is why it's the best worst.
Just like Kanan was like Wile E. Coyote, this guy is almost like a Looney Tunes character getting hit with an anvil on the head or something.
James,
so
you should have moved your death to this
true
one.
To your pattern.
You should have moved Kanan to this one, and then you would have won this section.
Yeah, most hilarious death, I'll give you that. But in terms of the worst death, I can't agree with you there. And then my thoughts on Lacey's. Who did Lacey pick again? Admiral Akbar. I love how Lacey destroyed her own argument by saying like he has a memorable line, like singular, like he's a meme.
He was also
That's
a hero, though.
Is.
No, but he's a hero for the rebellion.
He's an appetizer. He's calamari. He's what you order at a sports bar before the football game comes on.
First of all, you don't know how to say calamari. Second of all, no, you're an idiot. Third, Akbar is a hero to the resistance.
Who
to
went
the
down with his ship. What an honorable, awesome
He
death.
didn't go down with the ship. He just blew out of the command center with Leia, and then she did Mary Poppins, and he didn't survive. That's some
frozen calamari.
That's some BS, Ryan Johnson. And I love Ryan Johnson, but that is the worst death. Way to take a fan favorite character and just be like, we don't care about this guy. Worst
Is he a fan favorite, or is he just kind of like one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, Akbar, that's cool, but I really don't care.
He was a favorite to me. He's one of my favorite characters. I was so upset that he died.
Him and his famous line.
Yeah, absolutely. Who cares? We're talking about worst death. He didn't get the death of a hero that he should have gotten. He got some side death.
His death. There's no way his death is worse than Palpatine's. Though.
I think I made it pretty clear that I was not choosing Kanan's death because he was a favorite. But here she comes in and she's like, it's crappy because he's one of my favorites. That's why. It doesn't have anything to do with his actual death. It has your connection
no, it does.
And feelings for that character.
Because he didn't die in a memorable, awesome way. He died in a terrible, worse death. He just got blown out a window.
Blown up by a missile in space.
Though, Lacey, if you want to go by pain,
he just went, feel anything. And then it just blew up. That's all that happened. It's the worst death. Yeah. He should have gone down in a heroic way.
Dude, Akbar was sitting there at a console playing solitaire on his computer, and all of a sudden he's blown to bits. He didn't feel anything.
He was in one of those chairs, those like hover chairs.
Oh yeah, he loves those hover chairs. Yeah.
Worst death.
So, somewhere that hover chair landed on another planet, just like Luke's lightsaber floated somewhere, and someone now has Akbar's hover chair at an antique shop.
Akbar got such a bad rap, literally. It's a wrap.
But ask anybody, like, hey, which would you rather die? Would you rather die as the commander of a ship and then a TIE fighter is going to come and blow up the thing and everybody in 100 yards is going to die except for the one Force user? Or would you rather have somebody throw a heavy suitcase at you and you get knocked backwards over a rail?
It's just so it's way more ridiculous when you bring it up, but that's still not the worst death.
Yeah.
I love how you guys still haven't said why Palpatine's isn't the worst death.
Because his doesn't matter, so we're not even arguing it. Because his doesn't
really
matter.
Think about this for a second. A guy who is mechanical, lost one of his arms, picks this guy up with one arm as he has lightning shooting out of his hands, and this guy who's supposed to be the master manipulator couldn't sense that. It's ridiculous. He got the worst death in the whole saga.
I don't mean to bring up a point that I've already brought up, but would you rather die being murdered by Darth Vader or having a large suitcase thrown at you and being knocked backwards over a rail? I'm sorry.
He wasn't murdered by Darth Vader. He was murdered by gravity.
But Darth Vader killed him. Is there any argue over that?
Yeah, Darth Vader definitely killed him.
Yeah, Darth Vader killed him. Darth Vader murdered this man.
He died
in
from
cold
betrayal.
blood. And that's a
This
pretty
guy
cool
died
death,
from a
to be honest
suitcase.
with you. If you're going to die by any means,
Okay, if you-
being killed by Darth Vader is a pretty cool one.
Yeah, if you get killed by Darth Vader in Rogue One, like Prime Darth Vader, but if you get killed by Darth Vader who can't open his own ketchup bottle, Darth Vader, because he only has one hand left, then I don't count that.
Bad
Especially
respirator
when
Darth Vader.
He
Especially
had
now
one
in the
hand in
special
Rogue
edition.
One. What you just argued makes no sense. Darth Vader only had one hand in Rogue One.
I mean, he had no hands, like his mechanical hand was cut off.
Yeah.
Because
So
Luke cut it off.
who cares?
I'm just saying it's hard. It's harder to do. Also, in the special edition, they added Darth Vader pretty much telling him, "I'm about to kill you," because he goes, "No, no." Don't you think Palpatine be like, why do you just say no? Wait, are you about to kill me?
That makes my
But he's
best death even better. That Darth Vader yells no.
Like, why was Palpatine so hapless in that one moment? He became a nothing,
'Cause he
became a
sucks.
senator, took over the whole galaxy, and manipulated everybody, fooled everybody, and he couldn't figure out Vader might protect his son, especially when he goes, no.
Because he got so distracted in his own anger and dark side rage that he couldn't pick up.
It's embarrassing.
No, it's
She
the same
deserved
thing
better.
with Snoke. Snoke was so overwhelmed with everything that was going on that he didn't realize he was about to die. Just like
You compare Snoke to my Sheev.
it's the same thing, dude. Old crinkly guy, evil. Yeah, same guy. Same guy. And then Akbar's over here getting roasted. Stupid. It's worst death ever.
Sheev deserved better, guys.
You guys
Akbar
are both putting
deserved better.
so much emphasis on how they deserved
No one
a
cares
better
about your
death.
suitcase, James.
I'm just saying. it
Once again,
just-
James is bringing up
they
deaths that
still
nobody gives a
have
shit about.
cool deaths. Like I'm not going to pick random stormtrooper that got blown up by Poe Dameron's X-wing on Takadana. That's a pretty cool death. That's pretty neat. But
Takadana.
like
Yeah.
I'm just saying it doesn't really matter if that character, well, he was a stormtrooper, like blah, blah, blah. He doesn't really have a whole lot to add to the galaxy of the story. I'm just talking simply about their death. Being blown up by a blaster of X-wing, that's all cool. Being thrown off of a cataclysm by Darth Vader is cool. Being mildly pushed off by something heavy, not even a blaster, not a lightsaber, no force choking or anything like that. Although those are pretty, I don't know, lackluster
Akbar deserved
deaths.
better.
People just being like, I can't breathe, dead.
Lacey, I would agree with you if Admiral Akbar was a relevant character, but he's just not.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Palpatine sucks. No one cares about Palpatine.
Fish matter, John.
Mon Calamari
Palpatine-
matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if they blink or not, but they matter.
He
Every
was
time I dip
able.
something in cocktail sauce and eat it, I think about Admiral Akbar.
Really? Because Palpatine sucks.
All right, guys. I think we've talked about the worst death. The obviously being random Empire guy on
Palpatine.
Endor. Han hits with a heavy object and knocks him off a rail. And then we talked about your guys' too, which are pretty cool. But do we have any
There's
closing
no
statements?
Chance anyone is siding with you, first of all. But yeah, let's do our closing.
You say
arguments.
that, but mine is clearly the obvious worst death.
Like, we have, like,
you guys are
one
trying
listener
to
who,
fight
like,
for something that you're like in any other day, any other argument, you'd be like,
You know who's gonna
"Oh, it's
vote for
kind of a
James?
cool, kind
The
of a
people
cool
who
death.
listen to our podcast who were
Pretty
fans
normal.
of The Devil Wears Prada, those are the people that are going to root for James in this argument.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So final statements. I'll go first this time to be fair, I guess. And I will say, I'm not doing the 2-sentence nonsense because Lacey made that up out of nowhere. But I'm just going
I
to say
thought that worked
Emperor
really well.
Palpatine is the supreme villain of this saga. He
Boo.
was the mastermind, the manipulator, the powerhouse that rose from nothing and took over the whole galaxy. And they just made it seem like he had no idea what was happening. He even got a vocal cue from the guy next to him saying, "I'm about to kill you."
Dude,
And
he didn't show
had
up till
only-
the last movie.
Excuse me, this is my closing argument. Thank you.
Didn't even show up.
And Vader had only 5 fingers left, and he still was able to just pick him up and toss him. And honestly, he needed a more epic death. It was kind of a cop-out. I don't like it. I still don't like it. And yeah, Palpatine deserved better. So it's clearly, obviously, the worst death in Star Wars. Definitely the worst death out of these 3 we're talking about here. Thank you. Good night. Mic drop.
Lacey,
That's a
final
mic
statements.
drop? You want me to go?
Yeah.
Well, Admiral Akbar, legend, hero, resistance leader, deserved a better death than the worst death that he got, which was being blown out a window and then somehow side mentioned a scene later. That is some BS. He deserved better than that, and that's why he gets the worst death.
All right, guys, I'm going back to that first-person shooter thing. You're playing a game. There's a lot of really good players. They're running around. They're killing people. They're getting killed by other good players. There's a lot of shooting going on, a lot of people dying. But then you have this one noob player who doesn't understand the game. It's like your dad or something. He's on the controllers. If you go back and watch the game, while you're looking at your replays and you're like, oh, man, that kind of sucks. I was killed. I should have been paying attention. But then you go back and you look at your dad's kills and he like backs up because he doesn't know which way to go and he like falls off the cliff. That's the worst death in that match. It's not, you should have been paying attention. You should have been noticing that Vader was saying this or that, or their meaningful players or anything like that. It just has to do with simple stupidity. It's just the guy comes in, he says, freeze, and he gets something heavy thrown at him. That's it. And he dies. It's not a blaster. It's not a lightsaber. He just dies. It's such a stupid... He's trying to play dodgeball, and he jumps up. I'm going to catch this and show Han, but then it just sets him off balance enough to murder him.
I kind of want to... I do kind of want to get, like... I wish there was a post-game interview of Han Solo, like, Han, when that guy surprised you with freeze, like, what went into your mind? Like, oh, I had this thing in my hand, and I just threw it.
I just threw it at him. All right, guys.
All right,
Don't you wish you could like talk to the stunt coordinator who was like, okay, so you're just going to throw this at him and he's going to do this. And Harrison Ford's just like, so I just throw it? And he's like, yeah, just throw it.
Side note, too, you watch the clip again, 2 stormtroopers come in. They clearly saw what happened to that guy and they do not care. Yeah. They just come around the corner and they're just like, oh, that guy just died. He fell off a rail.
You mean like how they treated Akbar?
He didn't give them lunch breaks or something, so they're just like, screw him. But imagine the script held for like Han Solo to shoot that guy, and Harrison Ford's like, nah, I'm gonna improv this. I'm gonna grab this thing and just throw it at him.
What's funny is I looked up the script on this to figure out if the guy actually does have a name, and the actual script reads that Commander says, freeze, you rebel scum. And that's not it. The one guy says freeze, and then he gets knocked off, obviously, stupidly. But then the other guy comes in, and he says, you rebel scum. So it's actually, it was written differently in the script. Yeah. So anyway.
All right, well, what is the best death? We went through Kanan Jarrus, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Darth Vader. And what is the worst death? And we went with Akbar, random Empire guy on Endor, and Emperor Palpatine. So let us know what you guys think. James can't even hold it together right now.
Nope.
And if you guys have, again, other choices for the worst death, let us know in the comments. And we'll ask you, who do you guys think won the Star Wars wars? Obviously, the best death won and the worst death won. Let us know, and we'll do another one in the future. We hope it wasn't too harsh for you. We hope you had fun. And look, we're all still here. We're still podcasting because we have more to do here. So it's possible to argue and still be friends, folks. Remember that.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for watching that video. And if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and head over to the full episode by clicking this box here. If you want, you can subscribe, and that way you get all the weekly news. You get our discussions. You get information on our giveaways whenever we do them. It's a good time, we promise. Thanks for watching the Resistance broadcast.